Thank you all so much for coming to the screening of How to Hack Birth Control. I am so happy that everyone made it. And I just wanted to introduce everyone here. I am Sassy Mohen. I am the writer, director, producer, and editor. And this is everyone else. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Lauren Harris, and I play Wendy.
And I'm Xanthe Paige, and I play the narrator, Ruth.
Cool. So if you guys have any questions for the Q&A, now is the time to ask, or we could just start talking if everyone wants to listen. What are your guys' spirit animals? I mean, I said mine.
That's such a great question.
Would it be so boring to say a dog?
No.
I think it's the truth. Love dogs. Loyal, loving.
I've not really thought about it, but I rock climb a lot, and my friends at the rock climbing gym say that they call me the spider. So, and as an Australian, it's probably quite fitting.
Aisha, she made it.
Hey!
All right, we're all here.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a question. Do you ever do school visits? I mean, that's a great idea. We haven't set that up yet. We are waiting to hear back from people. I mean, this is why we wanted to start this event, right? To meet with other organizations and see what's going on. I know some schools have certain rules and parameters that they have to meet, like you can't say curse words to high school students, or maybe, I mean, they say it, but you know, I guess it's a rule for some of them. But I think that colleges would be extremely receptive to this film. It's this series, and I would love to bring it there should the opportunity present itself. So everything is out there as a chance, you know. So we could wait for another question, or just keep. Oh, Aisha, what's your spirit animal? We did the other three.
Oh, my spirit animal. Oh goodness. Probably, I don't know, probably a panther. Very,
Oh,
I like to sort
That's a
of
good
sneak
one.
around and then pounce.
amazing.
I guess if there's no other question, oh, here's one. What form of birth control do you each use currently? Oh, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
Definitely the pill. I'm too squeamish for anything else.
That's funny. I am team Paragard IUD, which is the copper one. I was on the pill for a long time, but the hormones started reacting weird with me, so I switched to something that was non-hormonal.
I'm Marina, so IUD also, but hormonal. Yeah, had a family friend put it in.
like on his spare time.
This is what happens when you have a mom who's a nurse.
I was supposed to say, so you could like relate to the scene that you're in, right? With the pill and all that. I also wrote that from experience, as the first pill that I went on made me crazy in college. And I was convinced after that all pills made me crazy. I found out later that's not the case. And I am now on the pill that has the lowest amount of estrogen, and I had 0 side effects.
Me too.
None. It's great.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's awesome. Oh, this other question. Do y'all have any birth control horror stories?
Oh.
I don't know if I have anything too crazy, but I mean, the reason that I stopped in the first place when I was on the pill, I was in Vegas and I was like breaking out in a rash. And like the only thing that I can attribute it to, like the only thing I was doing differently was taking the pill. So it's not that crazy, but
yeah. The pill I went on was the one that there was a lawsuit against years ago. Yasmin. That's now against the law because people killed themselves. When they
My favorite
it.
Bratz doll.
Right. Yeah. I didn't kill myself, obviously, but it did make me crazy. And I thought, like, this is how the pill works. It makes no one want to sleep with you. So, but then I went off
Sassy's frozen for me.
Oh, but am I frozen for anyone else?
No.
Okay. Xanthe, you're having the freezing issue again.
I was going to say, I feel like my only horror story was before I started taking the pill, because I had such horrible stomach issues and cramping. And I feel like the pill really helped to regulate a lot of those problems that I was having.
Oh, for sure. Oh, here's a good one. What was sex education for you in school? What do you think was most effective, ineffective?
I actually had a really great sex education program in school. I was really lucky. My literature teacher was also our sex education teacher, and his name is Al Vernacchio. And he actually goes around the country giving TED Talks and talking to other programs because he developed the pizza method, which is basically that sex should be like ordering a pizza, where you have a conversation about, do we like the same toppings on this pizza? How do you like, what kind of pizza do you want? What time should we order our pizza? And when you can have a big conversation and make sure that your pizza order is as consensual as your sex life, then everything works out for everybody.
I similar experience to you. I've been very lucky with the schools that I've been in. I've actually started, I think they started us in like 5th grade, which was like super young. So I remember being young, watching animated videos about it ever since then. So for me, it's actually been a really positive experience, which I am very, very much grateful for.
Yeah.
I know that Xanthe's having some technical issues too.
I can hear you again now.
Yeah.
But not Lauren. No, Lauren.
Oh no, I'm there.
Xanthe, do you have the question? What was sex education like for you in school?
Oh, it was, I mean, I went to a Catholic school, so I feel like it was maybe tempered a little bit. But it was fine. It was fine. It wasn't the exciting like condom on a banana thing that I saw from like American school TV shows and that kind of thing. But yeah, I feel like that it could have been better. It could have made the conversation a little less weird, I think.
For me, I was fortunate to go to a really artsy and progressive middle and high school. In fact, I saw my AP bio teacher here, which is amazing. Jim, if you're here still, hello.
Hi.
But HB was really cool because it was just very alternative, and it embraced the fact that teenagers were adults, like in the sense that we have brains and minds and desires and needs, and so we were able to just express ourselves. And our health class was really cool. We had this teacher, Steve, and basically you got one assignment. You could pick whatever you wanted to talk about. That's your only thing for the year. And you got a presentation, right? So like every week someone gave a presentation. And so like people picked the most random stuff. I was a nerd and like really scared of sex when I was in high school. So I picked phantom limbs. I had nothing to do with sex education at all. But I was thankful to go to a school that was really open and smart about it, just because that's like invaluable, right? I mean, so the next question would be, do you think is the biggest barrier for young women getting proper birth control?
Knowledge, honestly. Like, I just don't think that all of us have the access to what the options are. And so many of us are in programs and schools that don't supply us with the same knowledge and access about what all of the options are. And just like we talked about, like one option doesn't work for everybody, which I think is why it's so important in the film. So I think just lack of conversation and lack of acceptance.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I remember back in high school when we were having our sex education classes, there were options for parents who didn't want their children to be in those classes to have to leave and like, I don't know, study history or something. And I just remember always being like so sad for those, and it was usually women, unfortunately, women who were missing out on those really important lessons. So I think, again, it comes down to education and awareness and access.
Yeah, I think for sure it's the education, and I think not knowing what is out there, and I think being scared of those things, and I think everything there's quite a, I feel like there's in a lot of cases there's sort of this like shameful aspect to it, to talk about it, or to like bring it up, or to like talk to a parent about the fact that you have your period or first period or whatever it is. It's like a weird shame or something. Maybe that's Catholic school guilt, but I think that's a huge thing, not wanting to talk about something that's very normal for 51% of the population.
Yeah, I think too, like one of the reasons I wrote How to Hack Birth Control of many is I had a friend a few years ago who ended up having to have an abortion because she accidentally got pregnant because she didn't know what alternatives were out there. She was on the patch and she was in an abusive relationship, and then she ended up getting pregnant because she went off the patch because it was making her crazy, and she didn't know that there was other alternatives out there for her that she could afford, because somehow she got this through something that was in her budget. And so she ended up having an abortion because she literally didn't know all these other things. And I remember she came over and right here, and we were talking about it, and she told me, and I was like, you could go to Planned Parenthood and show them your income and get the pill for free. And she said, I can. And I was like, yeah, yes. You know, when I was in college, I took many trips to Planned Parenthood for the Worry After pill with my boyfriend at the time. Yeah, right. Like waiting at 8 a.m. for that appointment. Like, but like if I didn't know that, then like who knows? But I did, and I just wish that more women knew that there are other women out there who want to help, and there's organizations out there that want to help. You know. And let's see, what's the next question. This film seems more important and relevant today than was created. How do you feel about this? Oh, Xanthe's coming back. She's coming back.
Okay.
I mean, it's the truth, right? I mean, it was important to begin with, but it only became more important with everything that happened with Texas. I think it's hard not to talk about given the subject matter. And I mean, what was happening was just such an attack on women's reproductive rights and women's rights in general. So I feel that fate happened in this circumstance, that we're working to have more of a conversation, because I think that's the best thing that we can do is keep the national dialogue going. So I feel great about it.
Yeah,
I feel terrible, but I feel like it's moving in the right direction.
100%. Yeah, I think the trailer dropped either the day of or the day after that news came out, which was wild. So yeah, I'm same thing. Very, not happy about that, but happy that programs like ours are coming out so that people can see the truth, basically.
Xanthe, if you missed the question, it was this film seems more important and relevant today than when it was created. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, I think sadly, yeah, yes, but it is. I mean, I think it kind of is more relevant because it's like you think that there is progression, and then it's like, yes, we're doing it, and then you're met with these decisions and these things, and it's like, oh, okay, there is always more that we can do, and there is always, I think, for some time, sadly, going to be more that we need to say.
Yeah, I hadn't intended for this to be so topical when I wrote it. I mean, and Aisha, it dropped the day that the Supreme Court refused to take up that case, which was completely unintentional. It's just something that's very important to me, because I feel that women, if we have the power of our own bodies, it's statistically proven we make more money, we progress better in society. The countries that allow women to have free access to birth control have a better GDP. Like it's economically proven that women can succeed more and bring more to the table if we just have the basic control of ourselves. And I think that it's great that it's more relevant. I mean, not great what's happening, but it's great that more people are talking about it, because more people should be talking about this, because it's very important. I think we make up like 51% of the world. So, next question.
Reminds me of when our last president was elected and things like the Women's March started happening. It's like in our darkest hour, people respond. And I think that's so important.
Yeah. The next question is, should parents supply birth control for their kids, or will this only encourage unwise sexual activity?
I think that's a personal decision. I personally think that everybody should be having a conversation. I think that it should be, obviously you can't require parenting, but I think that if everybody in this country could have a conversation about birth control, and it didn't have to be this mystified thing and something that's shameful or scary to talk about, to use Xanthe's words, and then they could make that decision with their child, I think that would be the best way of going around it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't necessarily think everybody has to have like a drawer of the birth control ready to go, but like they definitely should be open to, talking to their kids about it when they're ready. I remember my mom, even before I was ready to be having sex, was like, just let me know, I will take you. And I was like, Mom, stop. But sure enough, like when it was time, took me with no problem. So I think just being open with your children and creating a space where they are able to come to you, I think that is enough, and then go from there.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. I think it has to be a conversation that's had, and children have to know what options there are. I don't think providing it or, you know, making it accessible would necessarily, you know, increase kids having sex. I think if you're going to do it, you're going to do it. So if it's going to happen either way, let's make it safe and make it so that people aren't, you know, kids aren't making decisions when they're not armed with all of the knowledge and then affecting the rest of their lives potentially.
Yeah, I think like my parents were very open about it, but like I said, I was a nerd and super scared of dating for a super long time, like terrified. And they enrolled me in a young adult class in 8th grade at the Unitarian Church. That is one of, I think, the best things that they did as parents, because it was a class that met every Sunday and it discussed things about growing up. It wasn't just about sex. It was like what it means to be gay, how they showed a video of childbirth, which was terrifying. like they showed, you know what I mean? Like you're in 8th grade and in every class you could ask an anonymous question. You wrote it down and it was pulled out of a hat, and it could be about anything, about your body, about your life, about your future. And I thought that was like, even though I was so scared when I took that class, I was so grateful that I could hear the things that I didn't even know I wanted to ask. Because that's the thing, right? When you're a kid, you don't know, like you feel things and you see things, but you don't know what's actually happening. And unless you're guided to ask the questions, you might not even ever ask them, right? So I think that, you know, parents, they shouldn't be required to, but like my parents were open about it and I didn't run off to have sex right afterwards, you know, like, and in fact, the people that I know whose parents weren't open about it are generally the ones that do, right? Like of my friends that didn't get that, they were like me, where they were more reserved. So I think that speaks volumes. And this leads to the next question: has being part of the series contributed to any interesting convos with fam or friends?
I think everyone on my social media is just like, what are you doing? Like, what is this? And, you know, I was lucky enough to have my crotch be pictured on the poster. So
Yeah,
I started to have friends like start DMing me, those really look like your legs. Are those your legs? Yes, those are my legs. I'm really lucky that I have very liberal family members when it comes to talking about birth control and sex education. So I think if anything, it's just like so great to be part of it. It's such an important project. I haven't had any controversy around it.
Yeah, I mean, this is really the first time it's being screened to the public. So it'll be fun to see what conversations happen after this. But I will say we had a smaller cast and crew screening, and I was able to bring to my sister and my friend to that. And I remember afterwards we were like, we just learned so many things. So there is a lot of information, even that I was learning, and I thought I was well educated in the subject. So yeah, there's lots of fun stuff in here.
Yeah, Xanthe will be back in just a second. She's just having issues with her computer. But what I will say to that is, no, this hasn't led too many, because I feel like I've covered that already with my films. Like, to give a subtle plug to a web series I did 10 years ago called About Abby. It was about a girl who had a sexual awakening after college. Basically, the premise of it was she was in a 10-year relationship with like her high school sweetheart, and then she started dating again, and she's like a Disney princess, but you know, dating in Los Angeles, which is funny in itself to think about. But so that kind of web series sort of did all those conversations. So like now I really feel like my friends and family are just very supportive and understand that this is just art, you know, it's film, it's not me. Like, these characters aren't me. Some of the stories may come from personal experiences, but a lot of them don't. A lot of them come from things that I've heard from people, or you know, things I've read that I feel are important to say. Xanthe, the question was, has this series contributed to any interested convos with friends or family?
Nothing too wild, but certainly, I mean, I think because of it, I've like talked to people about birth control and like what we're all on, what we're all rocking. Yeah. And I actually did hear one horror story. going back to earlier, I did get one of them. So.
To this other question, do you plan to do other hack series? The answer is yes. I've just beginning developing a how to hack series, and I'm going to do how to hack climate change, how to hack voting. I don't know. There's a whole. I was thinking how to hack disinformation, but I don't even know if I can hack that at this point. But we'll see. I'm very passionate about climate change. So that's the next one. And let's see. What's this? What was your favorite part to shoot? That's a great question.
Oh my goodness. I love the doctor's office scene where I come out with the scroll, and then just everything leading up, I think, to the moment where we go out and begin the dance sequence with the protesters. I thought that was a blast.
There were so many fun moments. So I spent most of my time with Xanthe in a studio that was a great. So fun reacting to a bunch of nothing.
Yeah, that was great.
I really got a chance to just use my imagination and go crazy. And then flying around, which was really fun. Dream come true.
Definitely the green screen for me was very fun. And again, yeah, just sort of being like, oh, wherever we're here, here's everyone. And then also working with Dash in the preschool was so funny, and he's a very funny guy. And
yeah,
it was silly and fun. I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, and let me preface this with none of the men in this series are anything like the characters, except for my fiance Vince, who is the white guy dating the Asian girl in that scene. Vince is amazing, but and of course all the guys in this cast were amazing, but they were very pro-choice and pro-women and everything, and I think had a lot of fun playing that. I think my favorite scene to shoot, that's really hard. I love the finale, that dance sequence at the end. Like, for me as a director, that was a challenge, and I was really excited and nervous about it. And then when it all came together, it's one of those moments of like, when you're writing a script, you can kind of see it, and then when you actually see it, it's like, okay, yeah, this is what I wanted, and here it is. And it was very stressful, because we shot that entire dance sequence for like, I don't know, like 5 hours or something. And we were fighting sunlight because we were shooting in November and the sun went down at 5. So we had to do the dance scene with Lauren and Jody at the other scene outside the clinic, the other dance scene. We had to get that done before the sunset. So there was just a lot of challenges, but we got it done. And that's why I think it's one of my favorites. Next question. Funniest behind the scenes story for each of you.
Funniest behind the scenes story. Well, I don't know if anybody else has ever worn a chastity belt, but I
that was funny.
So I mean, it's really something to show up to set and you're gonna wear a wedding dress, that your hair is gonna go in an updo, so like come to set with your hair ready to go. But do you really know that somebody is going to be around your legs strapping on a belt with a key that you then have to hold and make sure that your tights aren't too see-through, so that we're not revealing too much under the chastity belt? So I think just all of the work that actually went to putting that together and figuring out like how we're actually going to clip this lock onto the belt was quite the experience, and lots of fun.
So funny. I think the funniest moment for me was getting the yogurt dropped on me.
Oh my God. I felt so bad about that because it got on your dress.
We had one shot, one opportunity to seize that moment.
The ego poop.
And I had to like not break because that was hilarious and ridiculous, but it looks great. So worth it.
I think for me, it was probably one of the green screen days, and I had to wear like a green morph suit up to my neck
For
the floating head moment. Yeah, and it was like too big, and so I was just like covered in pins at the back. It was pretty ridiculous. I was just a floating head. And then it was like my hoops, I think. It was like all manner of things going on there. But yeah, that was definitely silly and fun.
I think like for me, on one level, the funniest scene was shooting that preschool because that was just funny. I mean, we were in a preschool, like that was hysterical. But I think like the low key funniest version was shooting that cat stuff. Like that was really so. Like I foster cats, and we happen to have a cat at the time who was extremely people friendly. Like I've never seen this before, but there's the dance scene and you can see the green walls behind me with the two girls and everyone walked in to shoot that and he just came out and laid on the floor and asked for belly pets from like a cast and crew of total strangers. And so I was like, this cat can wear a backpack and deliver birth control. So we set up this green screen here in my living room and it's like this cat, I was like throwing treats, across the shot and like trying to get Ash, who's not trained, he's just a friendly cat. And he's like, huh? And I'm like, go that way, just go. And so we finally got these shots. I mean, it was just a very small shoot, but that was really fun. I've never worked with a cat before. So, okay, what's this other question? Oh, what was it like seeing the final cut?
Oh, so fun because we had all of the cast and crew there, and it was just a nice experience to be reunited with everybody. It's so weird with the pandemic. Half the time you're rehearsing, but when you actually do get to rehearse, you've done a million COVID tests to be there, and now we're all vaccinated, so it's a little bit easier. But it was just so special being able to see everybody and finally see it come together.
Yeah, it's always such a cool experience and moment to watch the final product of something that you've worked so long and so hard for. So it was so cool. And yeah, you're right. Like most of the crew, especially, like I didn't even know what they looked like because we were
Masks.
All the time. So I think I only saw Sassy on Zoom without masks. So like the party was the first time we all got to really just relax, be together, and watch this incredible project.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was so nice to have everyone together because there were a lot of things that were just like a couple people in whatever scenes. And so to bring it all together was so great. And then also to see all of the, all the VFX and that kind of thing, like all the green screen stuff, to see that, in its final stage and like all of these little animations that I had no idea about. Like I was just like, this is the whole picture came together and it was so amazing. That was really cool to see, all the additional elements.
And I'll just answer this other question first. Ash, the backpack cat, does have a forever home. He was adopted this past March by a family that fully supports his acting career. They know all about it. They've been fully informed and they think it's great. He and his best friend Katie are in their forever homes and they're just super happy. But seeing the final cut was so amazing. I have to give a shout out to the VFX artist Sam. He and I spent every day for like 6 or 7 months on Google Chat, just working and sending cuts back and forth because we've been working together for so long. And also the graphic design artist Arlene, I love her. Like I asked her about, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna send you a lot of random requests. Can you do everything? And she was like, yes. I was like, okay, I need curtains that look like uteruses. I need like a flying eagle. She gave me like 30 different eagle positions. I need like a prescription and I need like a bag, all these random stuff. And it was so nice and relieving to see the final cut all put together, and especially that game show stuff, which was the biggest challenge so far in my directing career to pull off. And I'm very happy with the way it turned out. And also this other question, I'm assuming it's just for me. It's one of the challenges of being the director.
I'll step in.
Okay, I think that, it's a pretty broad question. To focus it more on this one specifically, I would say the biggest challenge on this shoot was COVID. When I came up with the idea, I came up with it in 2019. And I started writing the script, and then, the pandemic happened, and I thought that we would never be able to shoot it. I actually called it off in June of last year. And then one of my best friends, Jane, works with the CDC, and she helped run the Washington, D.C.'s coronavirus response. She helped actually draft the whole plan for just D.C., not the federal government. So separate that. But and DC did very well, and she told me, she said, you actually can do this, and you can do it without anyone getting COVID. You just have to follow these rules, and I'll make them for you. And so she created a very comprehensive COVID plan for us to follow. And this was before they had said, that it was airborne. And she just told me from the beginning, she's like, all that matters is the air. She's like, do all the other stuff, sanitizer, wash your hands, all of that. But as long as there is air purifiers and everyone's got fans and everyone's wearing masks and you're outside as much as possible, everyone be safe. And to her credit and everyone else's credit on the shoot, no one got COVID. And we had like a cast and crew of like 60 people. So that was incredibly challenging. And I hope to never have to be challenged like that again, but we'll see.
As if being a director isn't enough.
Yeah.
Right. And Trump being president was always a challenge.
Oh, he was.
Oh my gosh, right. Our first rehearsal was around the election.
Yeah, that was right. We shot this in November, like the first day, so it was like November 10th of 2020. Like I was actually nervous because we had our we're about to shoot, and I was like, okay, if there's riots, this isn't getting postponed. So if you need rides or something, but thankfully that didn't happen, and everything was fine. I think we'll go for like another 10 minutes if there's any other questions. But I don't know. I guess what was your guys like? Oh, here's one. Oh, but it has to be approved yet. Oh, there it is. What is your best advice to men on how to be a better, more helpful part of the conversation? Go ahead.
Great.
I love that question. I think that's such a great question to ask. I think that the best way is to just be supportive. And I think the most important thing you can do is talk to your friends and talk to the people you know, and try to have those scary conversations with people who might not be as willing to have the conversations and not as supportive. My boyfriend is really phenomenal, and it meant a lot to me that he was willing to go to the Women's March and donate to women's organizations and things like that. So I think just being supportive and open to having conversations, I think, is so important.
Yeah, definitely. I think, talk to the women in your life, try to get their perspective and try to relate that to other guy friends that you have. At the end of the day, it's going to take you guys sort of convincing each other that you can be that pillar for the rest of your boys. That would be nice.
Yeah. Have the conversations and make it a normal thing to talk about. And I think, as Lauren was saying, kind of talking to partners and that sort of thing, to be like, what is comfortable for you and what can I do? And it's not, I feel like so often the burden is on the female in the relationship to like look out for themselves, but as I say in the refrigerator, it takes two to tango. So I think it's like about being a team player and sort of acknowledging that it's something that we can both discuss and work out a way to respect your body as a female.
I don't know if the person who asked this question is Austin from the film. If it is Austin from the film, hey, like, cool. If you're not, then you have a name very similar to the Austin who's in this project.
That is my friend Austin.
Oh, it is your friend Austin? Okay, so there is an Austin who's the husband in the infomercial, and I was like, is that you? But yeah, I think the advice to men would be to listen and to believe women. That's the main thing, right? Like when I went on the pill that first time in college, like 14 years ago or whenever it was, it started making me crazy and I didn't understand what was happening. And it took me 2 weeks to be like, what's different? Oh, I'm taking this. And then I stopped it, and a week later it was fine. But in that time, my boyfriend he was a jerk, but like he didn't understand, or like he thought he blamed me for the fact that this was doing something. And I think that speaks to like a bigger issue with men, is that like even with survivors, it's always like, what were you wearing? Why did you go there? What were you doing? It's like the circumstances often don't matter, right? If someone says that they want to be safe while having sex, if someone says that they were raped, if someone says that they're not being heard or respected as a woman, then you should believe that person, because them telling you, you know, to work on this sort of bias that, you know, you have to prove that like I'm not being respected because I'm a woman. It's like, well, I'm a woman and I'm telling you that. So I think that the best thing for men to be helpful is just to listen and to believe women. You know, if a woman starts acting not credible, then that's a different story. But if a woman that you know and or trust or have no reason to not believe her, that you know, then just believe her until proven otherwise. That's, I think, in my opinion, the biggest thing that men can do. And there are good men out there. Not all men are bad. You know, like there's a lot of great ones. I personally am getting married to one, so shout out to him. Who also co-produced this. So, you know, but yeah, I guess we'll wrap up. I don't know. Do you guys have any final words here? Lauren, do you have anything? We'll sum this up about the project or anything.
Yeah, I'm just excited, and thanks everyone for coming. It's just been so much fun.
Yeah, same. Thank you everybody who joined today. I'm so appreciative. I cannot wait for this to be out for more people to see. And I cannot wait for our next iterations of the series. Yeah, thank you guys.
Oh, go for it, Xanthe.
Oh, yeah, just very appreciative to everyone for watching, appreciative to this team, Sassy, for being phenomenal. Just like, I mean, incredible. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say the word, but like girl boss. But for real, like amazing to spearhead this project and say this is something that people need to see, and then doing it and making it and bringing everyone together, and then, you know, getting it out there is really amazing.
Definitely.
Yeah, and we got two last questions here, but I will also say thank you to all of you guys. I couldn't have done this without these amazing actors and the amazing crew. Everyone brought so much amazing talent. I just say amazing over and over because it's true. Everyone was amazing. You know, like everyone brought so much to the table, and so much that they wanted to grow. You know, like everyone was such an artist in their own right, and just given this sort of seed and then blossom into their own sort of interpretation of it. And the last two questions would be, what are our next projects and how can we follow you on social media? We'll end with that.
Well, I'm really excited to see what the future is of this project. But this fall, I also have a documentary that I produced and directed about human trafficking happening outside of the Philadelphia area. It's super prevalent and is a huge issue in this country. So I'm really hoping that that's another message that we can spread more awareness to. It filmed during the pandemic. So excited that it's finally moving forward. And you can follow me on Instagram at Lauren Elizabeth Harris, but the H in Elizabeth and Harris share it. So just one H. Yes.
As far as my projects, I co-host a podcast called Kinda Dating. You guys can listen to it across all platforms. We'll get into even more fun topics that you know, have to do with dating in today's world. And I have a short film. I'm not exactly sure when it's going to come out, but it's called The Portrait. It's an AFI film. It's an all-black cast. It's really dope. And if you follow me on my social medias, which is Aisha Says Dance everywhere, you'll get more updates about that.
I have very exciting, actually, coming up, a music video that is beautifully kind of related to this, directed by my incredible friend Christine Kilmer. It's coming out. I was in it with a bunch of other ladies. It's all about women and all the things that women should be doing. It's for a song called Suicide by Mondo Boys. So keep an eye out for that. I also do audio descriptive narration if anyone is visually impaired or has any family members.
If you couldn't tell, she's a great narrator.
Oh, thank you. And you can find me at Xanthe Paige on Instagram, and we'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, and my next project is developing this this How to Hack series. You know, like we'll just see what happens. I'm really excited for how to hack climate change and how to hack voting. Both are very important issues today that need a lot of attention. And I also just want to quickly plug the women's rights groups that have been part of this. They are really awesome. Truth Be Told, She NYC, and Merrill. They are amazing organizations that do very different things, but under the same umbrella of helping women better their lives. And I think that it's great what they're doing. Also, tomorrow is the Women's March all around the country. If you guys don't know, there's one in every major city. And probably the non-major cities as well. It's everywhere. So, you know, check it out in your area. It's here in downtown LA. It's at 10 a.m. tomorrow. I will be there. And my social media is Sassy Mohen, SASSYMOHEN. And my website is sassymohen.com. So yeah, thank you so much again for coming to watch How to Hack Birth Control. It's my pleasure to share this with you and talk to these 3 talented actresses. And my publicist wants to put us in the text. There we go.
Right.
I mean, it's smart though. But yeah, we would love for you guys to follow us and stay tuned for more info on how to hack birth control. There's lots of big things on the horizon.